Hi, my name is Carter Razink, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of DropChain. Today, we're going to run through how to set up the DropChain tutorial app. This is the first video in a couple video series that's going to run through some of the basic functionalities of the DropChain API. First, I recommend completing the DropChain quick start guide that's going to run through everything that you need to know about your DropChain consoles. You can see here we have the DropChain homepage, and we can go to the DropChain API dashboard, and you'll see all the information you need to get started with your DropChain app. So once you've done the quick start guide with the link below, and you've created your DropChain account, we're going to create the DropChain tutorial app. So first, we have a GitHub repo. This GitHub repo has everything set up for you to get started without needing to know much of the complexities about building your first web app if you've never done that. Or if you do, really we have a front end set up for you and a back end set up for you, and you just need to edit a few lines, and this is going to allow you to test the DropChain API without having to go crazy and code everything for yourself. And so in order for us to set up our test app, we're going to go through the process that's outlined within the GitHub README file, which basically just runs through installing all the relevant dependencies and then running a development environment. And so we're going to do npm install, which is going to download all the required packages. Cool, and that's done. And then we're going to also do npm run dev, and that means we're going to run a development environment. And this is for the front end specifically. So as this is getting set up, you can see we're running it locally on our computer. And this is served at the localhost colon 3000, port 3000 URL. So if you click it and you open it up within your, I'm using Chrome, but your browser, you'll see this is the sort of basic Next.js information. But a little bit about what we need to understand with the Next.js app is that it shows you the information for each of the pages within the pages directory. And so if we go into the pages directory, right here on the left, directory is in the file within the DropChain tutorial app parent folder. We have each of these pages, and each of them are configured already for you to start using this. Now, you don't need to use this app, and in fact, you can use this build your first DropChain app without even worrying about anything I'm showing here. But at the end of the day, this is pre-made for you, and it's going to be the same formatting. You're going to have to create a body, and for all these pages, you see a body here for the API request, and this is the case for all of the endpoints that we have set up here. So for the asset freeze, you're going to have to include this. If we go to unfreeze, you're going to have to include that. If you want to do get asset metadata, you have to include this for all of the API calls you make. And we have this set up to hit the backend. So now we're going to set up the backend. And so the backend is within the backend directory, unsurprisingly. We're going to open up a new terminal. We're going to change directory into the backend folder. And so now we're right here, and we have a server.js. And so you can see that each of those routes that are shown here are related to the front end. And so we're going to do v1/assetmint assetmint testnet. If we go to the asset mint section, it is hitting the backend that we're going to run here in a moment with this same URL. And what it's doing is it's sending the request to the API.dropchain.network URL that we have set up on our end so that you can use the DropChain API and build complex, robust Web3 applications without needing to know anything about smart contracts, right? All of this is handled for you just by passing some information to us, and we execute it on your app or your user's behalf. And so the only piece here you'll see that we need to change is your API keys. And so we're going to set up this backend infrastructure and the front end infrastructure right now. So if we go back here, and the first thing we need is the API key. First things first, if you haven't already, sign into your DropChain account first you can get to this page, console.dropchain.network, or at dropchain.network, just hit the Get Started button and you'll be able to sign in. And that'll get you to the home page, and you'll click the API dashboard, and that's going to give you everything you need to have and know for your app. You'll have your API keys here, which we're going to create here in a moment, as well as your test accounts, which you're going to use to test your app through here, or with your own app by setting up your own requests, your own post requests with the same setup as we've shown, and in the future videos as we work through this process. So first things first, we're going to generate an API key. And we're going to attach this API key to the backend. First of all, I do want to mention that all API keys that you generate are managed securely by only showing you the API key when you generate it for the first time. So when you come back here, this API key section is going to be censored out. And the reason is we want to make sure that only you access the key when it's made for the first time, because you need to keep this secure. If you lose it, or you misplace it, or you copy it, paste it, and expose it somewhere, they can access your app and your account. And so you need to keep this safe, keep this secure. Don't show anyone. Use secret manager if you know how to do that, or use environment variables depending on how you set up your app. But for now, this is educational, so we're going to just copy this and put it directly into right here on server.js, line 46. And then we hit save. And within the terminal, we went to the backend section we're gonna run this file, this backend server.js. And so we're gonna do node, it's running off the node infrastructure, server.js, the name of the file, and then hit enter. And you will see that server started on port 5001. That means that it is running successfully. So make sure you put in the API key, make sure you saved it, and then you run node server.js. If you do make any changes, you need to make sure you stop the server.js with Control-C on Mac. That cancels anything that's running. That's universal across most apps through the terminal command line here. And then resave it and then restart it with node server.js. For now, though, we're not really going to have to touch the backend server anymore, because each of these routes, asset mint testnet, for example, is being sent to from the front end to the back end. We're setting a body right here for the API call, and then that's getting appended to a API key header, and then that's being sent off securely. So that's how you should build your app going forward. Have that backend server servicing the front end with your API key. But we're actually gonna test a basic transaction, right? And so first things first, we're gonna grab our app ID, which is at the bottom left here, or at the top. And then we're gonna paste that into the app ID section, and your app ID is gonna be the same going forward. And that's it. You have set up your DropChain tutorial app, and now you're ready to go through each of the DropChain API's functionalities with our next video on how to mint your first NFT or token. Thanks.